People love success stories when everything looks shiny at the end, but nobody wants to talk about the part where life looks like a bad comedy show. Imagine starting with literally nothing. No money, no support, not even a clue of how tomorrow's dinner is going to happen. That's the kind of story I'm about to tell you. And here's the twist. It's not about some superhero or billionaire. It's about a regular nobody. Someone like me, someone like you, someone who got knocked down so many times life could have charged rent for the floor. But instead of quitting, he laughed, he cried, he stumbled, and somehow he kept moving. This story will make you laugh, maybe make you tear up, but most importantly, it'll remind you that even when you've got nothing, you can still refuse to quit. All right, so picture this, a skinny guy with a half-broken shoe, walking down the street like he owns the world, but in reality, his wallet is emptier than my fridge at the end of the month. That guy was me, or let's just say, nobody, because I represent every single one of us who's ever been broke, lost, and slightly confused about what we're doing with life. I had nothing, no plan, no money, no backup. The only thing I had was a dream that kept me awake at night and a stomach that kept reminding me I couldn't afford biryani. Now, when you're broke, people give you free advice instead of free food. Friends be like, bro, just manifest success. I was like, forget manifesting. Can I manifest a sandwich first? Even my relatives had PhDs in demotivation. They'd say things like, beta, settle for a small job, stop chasing big dreams. And I'd nod politely while thinking, yes, sure, let me settle for less, because clearly your advice is working wonders for you. But let's be honest, life as a nobody is actually funny in a tragic kind of way. I remember one day, I went for a job interview with a shirt so old, the caller had retired before me. I walked in with confidence, but the interviewer looked at me like I was applying for a loan instead of a job. After 5 minutes, he said, "We'll call you." Spoiler alert, they never did. It's been years. I think their phone ran out of balance. And then there's the love life. Oh man. When you've got nothing, even romance runs away from you. I liked this one girl, but the moment she found out I didn't own a car, she treated me like I was invisible. I mean, come on, girl. At least wait until dessert before ghosting me. But looking back, it's hilarious. If she had stayed, maybe I'd have been stuck in some couple goals, drama instead of building myself up. But here's the thing. Even though I had nothing, I refused to quit. Every rejection, every insult, every empty pocket, it all became part of the comedy show that was my life. I'd laugh at myself and say, bro, one day you'll tell this story and people will think you made it up. And you know what? That kept me going. Because deep down, even when the world said no, even when my own mind whispered quit, there was this tiny stubborn voice that said, not today, not yet, keep moving. See, the funny thing about hitting rock bottom is, you realize it's actually a solid foundation. When you've got nothing, you stop worrying about losing things, because hey, what's there to lose? That's the secret nobody tells you. Having nothing can be your greatest strength, because it frees you from fear. I wasn't afraid of failing anymore, because failure was already sitting with me at the dinner table, eating the last piece of bread. But here's the lesson. Refusing to quit doesn't mean you'll suddenly wake up with a Lamborghini in your driveway. No, it means you show up again and again, even when life treats you like its favorite punching bag. You fail, you fall, you cry a little, you laugh at yourself, and then you try one more time. That one more time is where the magic hides. People think motivation is about shouting, I can do this. in the mirror like some caffeinated superhero. Nah, real motivation is quieter. It's that moment when your alarm rings at 6 a.m. and you want to throw your phone out the window. But instead you drag yourself up because deep down you know tomorrow won't be better if you quit today. And let me tell you, life will test you. It'll laugh at you, it'll slap you with bills, it'll ghost you harder than your crush. But every time you choose not to quit, you're building something invisible. Call it resilience, call it strength, call it pure stubbornness. One day, people will look at you and say, "Wow, you're so lucky." And you'll laugh because luck had nothing to do with it. It was sweat, tears, rejection, embarrassment, and that tiny little decision to keep going when quitting felt easier. Here's a punchline for you. Quitting is like uninstalling Netflix halfway through a series because the first episode was boring. Bro, you didn't even give the story a chance. Your life is the same. You're still on episode 2. Give yourself time before you write the ending. Another thing, stop comparing your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel. You see their success, their money, their smiles. But you didn't see the nights they cried themselves to sleep, or the years they ate noodles 3 times a day. Nobody posts that on Instagram. Remember, your struggle doesn't make you weak, it makes you real. And being real will always beat being fake successful. So here's the deal. If you've got nothing today, congratulations! You're holding the same weapon I had, hunger. Hunger to prove, hunger to grow, hunger to fight back. Don't waste it complaining. Channel it. Because nothing is where greatness often begins. And the best part, you don't need permission from anyone. Not your relatives, not your boss, not society. You only need that inner voice that whispers, "Don't quit. Just one more try." So here we are, at the end of this little roller coaster story. I started with nothing, just like many of you watching right now. No money, no support, no guarantee of tomorrow. But I refused to quit. And if a nobody like me can keep moving, stumbling, laughing, and somehow surviving, then so can you. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need everyone's approval. You just need that stubborn little spark inside you that says, "Not today. I'm not quitting today." Life isn't about always winning. It's about refusing to surrender. Because the truth is, success doesn't belong to the smartest, the richest, or the most talented. Success belongs to the ones who stayed when everyone else walked away. So if you're sitting there right now, doubting yourself, thinking you don't have what it takes, let me remind you of one thing: you are stronger than you think. And one day, you'll look back at this season of struggle and laugh. You'll say, "That was the chapter that built me." If you felt even a spark of motivation from this story, don't keep it to yourself. Hit that like button, share this video with a friend who needs it, and subscribe to Nobody Mindset, because together we're proving that even nobodies can rise. And remember, when life gives you nothing, that's when your real story begins.